open and stuff, I want you to first kind of follow along with me a little bit. Okay? So, and I'll put it up here as well so you can look along. So, Minecraft Education Edition has something built into it called Code Builder. Does anybody remember that from last year? The thing with the little agent where you coded him to do stuff? Did we do that a little bit last year? John Eager, what's up? JOHN Eager at BernardsDOE.com. Next. Close out mine if it's If not, we'll go on because for right now it's not going to matter that much. Because we're going to be starting with kind of learning a little bit together. If this TV will go on. Oh, it's remote. Just bad. Come on. I don't think I have the right size batteries for this. Alright, well that one back there is on. This one doesn't want to turn on for some reason. Unless somebody unplugged my TV on it. Looks like they might be. Why are you on?
Oh, the father
Alright, now we're making progress. Sort of. There we go. Alright, folks. So, back to what I was saying. So, Minecraft Education Edition has something called Code Builder built into it, okay? Code Builder allows you to code in a variety of ways. When you're in Education Edition and you hit the C key, it'll bring up something called Code Builder. Now, generally speaking, what'll come up is actually going to look more like this, because it's going to let you choose either make code or tinker. Now, both of them are great, and you could dabble in both of them. We're going to start with make code because make code specifically right now has the ability to code in block-based code, JavaScript, or Python. Okay? So we're going to play around with Python because I want to see some of these, I want to see you start kind of learning, right from the get-go, a little bit how to type code in, because they're going to give you tutorials that'll help with that. So we're going to start with this one here called, I'll start, this is a popular favorite, called Chicken Run, okay? I'm going to do this, now it's cool because whenever you go to a tutorial, or at least certain ones, gives you the option to do the block one or the Python one, okay? So the Python one we're going to have it rain chickens in a minute, okay, in Minecraft, okay? So here's, let's see, let's spawn chickens. So mobs.spawn chicken, comma, position. Now, do you know what this 0, 10, 0 means? Oops. Let's see. So see what I already have an error. It wants, the syntax for this is that it wants the mob name to be capital. So now I have this code here. Now, all I'm telling it right now is to spawn a chicken, but do you know what that 0, 10, 0 means there? Coordinates. And what does 0, 10, in this case, 0 mean? Where is it going to spawn this chicken? Where, Jerry? Right on top of me? Why right on top of me?
Because 0.
0's right where I am with my X.
So it'll be like relative to you, 0 like blocks away from you.
No. 0 blocks away from me on the X, but then 10 above me, not just right above me, but 10 blocks above me, and then 0 on the Z. So it'll really fall pretty much on my head, right? So let's see if that works. And the interesting thing is, see, I have it, that's weird. Yeah, see, there it is. There's the chicken. So I used just a line of code to spawn this chicken, okay? Now, that's great, except I would have to I'd have to run this code each time from here, I think, to make it happen, okay? I want to start to learn something called functions so that I could type something into the chat and make it happen. So who here plays or has played a decent amount of Minecraft? Yeah? A decent amount? enough that you've typed in commands before, like TP, blah, 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 or summon, space, ender dragon, stuff like that. Okay? So, you know how when you're in the console, if you type in like /TP space and your coordinates, it'll teleport you somewhere? Okay, we're going to create our own commands, so to speak, functions, that if I type them into the chat, it's going to do what I want it to do. So we're going to move on with this. And it's going to now, we ran our code, all good. Now, so it's only spawning one chicken, right? We want to spawn maybe multiple chickens. So I'm going to now do this. I'm going to do for I in range 100. And then it's going to do that, supposedly. So what's it going to do this time, do you think? Spawn 100 chickens, okay? This is a for loop. It's really like saying, as long as I is going to start, I guess, at 1, and it's going to go up to 100. So as long as we're still in that 1 to 100 range, it's going to spawn a chicken, okay? And let's see. There we go. Pretty nifty, huh? Now, I did that without any function or anything, so I didn't type anything in. Every time, because it's just code there, anytime I run the code, it's going to do whatever code is there, unless I tell it to do it differently. Okay? So here we go again. So now let's see if it goes to the next part for this one. All right, we ran our code. Okay, so that's saying, that's showing you how to do it just with code like that. We're going to go on to other ones. Well, actually, I'm going to try, let's see. Let's try this for a second. On chat, player.onChat. No, define. We have to define it first. Define on chat. I'm not doing it quite right. We're going to look at another tutorial to figure this out. What you have to do is we're going to define a variable for this function in a minute, but we're going to do it from one of the other tutorials and then we're going to come back to this one. So do I have, this one's my chicken rain. We're going to come back to that in a minute, okay? But I'm going to go to agent move because agent move is going to have me start defining some functions. So we're going to make our agent guy move with commands with Python, well, with functions that are Python that we're going to write. Here we go. So see, this is what I was talking about a second ago. See how this one says define or def on teleport. Okay, now these are the kinds of things you might want to have in your notes. Generally speaking, in Python, this def command is going to define a function. Okay, def defines a function. When you're coding, if we want to use a function, it first has to be defined, but we didn't tell it what is going to happen with this, what this function is yet. We're just saying we want to create a function called onTeleport, essentially. Okay? Now, this says, which isn't going to be what we're going to do ultimately, pass just means, it just wants us to kind of put a little, this is just really a placeholder for a minute. We're going to change this, but it just wanted to show you that then, in order to now call upon this function, whenever you have a function, you want to be able to call upon it somehow in your program, right? In this case, we're going to do it as an onChat. So player.onChat TP, comma, on teleport. Oops. So what we just did, which again, we didn't tell it to do anything really yet, we told it that there's going to be a chat command. What's the chat command going to be? That we would type in TP. And then that's going to do something, whatever we define on teleport to do. Okay? But on teleport is what we're going to put in here. So can we just, let's see if, see, I got to figure out, all right, so here, it's going to show us now. Agent.teleport to player. So on this command, agent.teleport _ to player. So agent.teleport to player is a command that the game understands. It's going to teleport the agent. The agent is your little robot that can code stuff for you, to the player. So here's our whole code in this case. We're defining this function called onTeleport. Okay? So we want to know that there's this thing in the game that knows what to do when onTeleport is called upon. Okay? When onTeleport is called upon, it's going to do what?
teleport the robot to the player.
Teleport the robot to the player. Agent.teleport _2 _player. Now, player.on_chat is saying that the way we're going to call upon, well, and then it says TP, comma, on teleport. So the way we're going to call upon this function is by typing something into the chat, which in this case is going to be TP. Does that make sense? Okay. So watch what happens when let's see if it works. So there's my agent now, TP, and there is my agent now. Okay. See, I can go anywhere. I can fly up in the air and do, and there's my agent. Okay? Got it? So far, real simple stuff, but we're gonna do a lot of it. It might be worth your while in Google Docs to start getting in the habit for some of this coding stuff for Python, for Minecraft, to have some of these sample codes in there, because you can, one cool thing is, if I do def on teleport, so that's what I'm calling it, so that's my own name, but at least the define came up as I started typing def, so it's a little bit of a helper, but you're gonna often be like, oh wait, how did I do that again? Okay. Now we're gonna define having the player move a little bit, okay? So we did that worked. Now we're gonna do a new subroutine, or a new function, okay? And we're gonna do define, which we're comfortable with now, I hope, on forward, okay? So that's basically defining what? We'll call it a function. Defining a what?
Function.
All right, so we're defining the function. What is the function called essentially in this? On what? On forward. What do you think we want to do when we have this function called upon? Make the agent do what?
Go forward.
Go forward, yeah. So I'm going to hit enter, and it gives it to us right here. Of course, this is kind of easy right now. Agent move forward 5. Now this part should start to become comfortable. Player.onChat. We know what that does. What does that do?
When you type it in the chat.
When we type something in chat, it's going to do something, right? So the command we're going to define that we would type in is forward, or FD, and then it's going to call upon that function on forward, okay? So now we have, this program we have right now has 2 different functions in it, okay? So I'm going to go here. All right, well, so whoop. It's funny, I'm moving, but you can't tell because it looks like whatever. So TP, okay, the agent teleported to me. FD, now the agent moves forward. Got it? So now, what do you think I would do to make the player, let's go through the whole thing to maybe make the player move back 5 steps instead of forward 5 steps. What should I start with? Def, then what?
On teleport.
Well, we've already done on teleport.
Backward.
Backward, okay. Then what? Open parentheses, and then the close happens to go there. Okay, so there we go. So that's doing what again? Defining the function. What do you think we want this function, the actual, what it's going to do, or the command in Python? What? Well, look at the one above it, and let's try to... Agent, it's definitely agent.move, and then what? Well, how about now? See how there's a little helper there? Back. And then, what do we want it to, how far do we want it to move back? Oh, you want it to go forward 5, but back 10. You're crazy. Okay. And then, what do you think we need to do now? Oops. BK, we're going to Burger King. Oops, I messed that up big time. Let's see. Hold on. Alright. Quotes. BK. And then what?
10.
No. This is important. Because if we don't get this just right, it's going to not work. Think about it. You can cheat a little bit. The on backward. How'd you know? That's what we called the on backward here. And if you looked to cheat up here a little bit, forward, we did on forward, and then that. We could have named this on back, but if we did that, we also have to call this on back because that's got to be calling upon what we defined, right? So now let's see what magic we've made happen here. Okay, ready for it? Okay, so FD goes forward, BACK. Uh-oh,
It's just B.
I spelt it very wrong. Back. Whoa, wait a minute. Isn't
It's
it?
just
Oh,
BK.
BK, silly me. Okay, BK. Oof. It's doing a moonwalk. Michael Jackson would be proud, right? Here he is, forward, back. All right, so there's so much more we could do when we want to command him like that. Now, it gets really interesting because we could also make him build stuff for us and stuff, right? So we could have him place blocks as he moves. We could have him do all sorts of things. We could have him mine. We could have him do a gazillion things that, you know, will blow you away. What I want you to do, though, as the way we're going to go through this, so this one I'm not even done with. I'm up to step 5, but we did some on our own, right? So we did that. Oh, this is how we would make it turn left. So see all these different things we could do? Uh-oh, it's raining. We could make it rain. We could make it clear. I wonder how we would do that. Let's see. I wonder if we could make that happen. Player dot on chat. No, define. Let's see. Define. How about weather? That on forward was something weather clear. How about? All right. Let's see if we can make this happen. Is that right? Or yeah. Okay. Now, weather. Ooh, look at that. Weather clear. Isn't this great? What do you think I do now? Player. Oops. How about what? WC. Weather clear. Whatever you want to call it. It really doesn't matter, right? But this matters. Weather clear, right? I hope we did. No, what is that right? No. What did we call it? On. Oh, we did call it weather clear. Wait a minute. That's weird because it's. Oh, we called it weather clear, and weather clear happens to be the actual function. Let's yeah, that's fine for now. Let's see if that works. And then, so that should be right, we think, although it doesn't like something there. So I think, you know what the problem might be? Might not like that this is a predefined. Let's do, how about W, let's see if it'll work this way. W underscore C. And then change this to, because I'm wondering if because it's a predefined, I don't know, because I would think oops, that's wrong for sure. Okay, let's see. If all this squiggly goes away, so why is that not, oh wait, let's see. I'm thinking, well, let's try it for kicks and giggles. I feel like we have something wrong by that red, but let's just see. Oops, we cannot run this. Check for errors. So what's the, let's see, name weather clears. Oh, you know what? Maybe. All right, hold on. See, we used, all right, it understood. Gameplay set weather. How's that look? Is that better? Now let's go back to what I wanted it to be, which is weather. I thought it was using a command. We were just using the same thing as what we were calling it, as what we were telling it, but it didn't understand that command. This should work. All right, should we try it?
Yeah.
So what should we type in now?
WC.
WC. Abra. Come on. Whoa! So the beauty there is this. What I want you to do every time you do one of these tutorials is I want you to do the tutorial and then do more to it than it asked for to modify it. In other words, the cool thing about Python, as you see from what we just did, we did some commands that we were able to follow, right? Then we said, wait a minute. We kind of are starting to understand how this define a function works. We know that at least in the game there's a way to set the weather clear. I didn't exactly know the Python code for it. And then we knew this. So I just played around a little till we got this part to work to serve a purpose. Okay, just like if we now do define time day, let's say, right? Now, I'm guessing it's also going to be a gameplay one, dot time set day. And of course, I could change this here, right? So we already player dot on chat. What do we want to call that one? Just day, how about? And then time day, right? Let's see. Please go away, red squigglies. Did I do something wrong? What did I do wrong? Player on chat. What's a period? Oh, that's silly. Should be a comma. See, now you all just troubleshot a little bit. Okay, thank you for that. So now, and actually let's then be a little smart and say, you know what, it is day now. Let's see what happens if we want to make it night. Okay, time night. Time set night, I'm guessing. Time night. And see, a lot of things weren't liking it because like it was noticing conflicts. So now, oh, you're right. Thank you to this, right? That would have messed everything up, sort of. Night. Good thinking. All right, so now we're going to go night, day. Night, day. Isn't that fun? And you could probably do weird stuff now, too, where you could easily change the day-night cycle through code. Like if you, let's say you put a pause in there, and you know how usually the day cycle has a certain cycle, but if you were to code it so that it was day, and then there was, like, bless you, a little pause, and then it automatically went to night and such, that could happen, too. So the idea here is going to be this. And I'm going to add these as quests, but I don't have them in there yet. That what you're going to do is when you go into Code Builder and you, whoops, no, we don't want that. Wait, when you go, let's just pretend we're done with this one, so it lets us out of this. Okay. Now we're going to go home, and also let me show you one thing. When you, here's the block-based look of it, and it actually just converted everything into blocks because I didn't have any errors. And see how it even says here Python code? I wonder if it'll show you what that is. I guess not. So anyway, when you're in block-based, yours probably when you first start is going to have a JavaScript icon here because that's the default. And see how it looks in JavaScript? Similar, but here is Python. So you can do things in JavaScript or Python. You can even play around and learn a little bit of both. But what I want you to do is, generally speaking, when you're here and you decide to go, like let's say you decide I'm going to try this flower trail tutorial, you would go to Python. You would actually, so this one, everywhere you walk, a flower is gonna follow you. Pretty cool. And you're gonna follow this tutorial, let's say, right? Now this tutorial you're gonna follow step by step, really easy. Presumably, you'll make mistakes because that's what happens when we code until we look and figure out what we did wrong, and then you're going to modify it. So let's say at first is showing these flowers, whatever. Maybe you decide I want flowers, maybe instead of flowers I want it to build something everywhere I go. So I'm going to think a little bit more about how that works and then go on a little further. And whenever you submit one of these quests, who started the Make Code Arcade quests? All right. So think of this the same way. Every one you do is going to be a blog post where you're going to put kind of you're going to talk about how we're doing coding, you know, how we're in a game design class, we're talking about coding and we're using Minecraft and we're coding Python to make stuff happen in Minecraft. And for this activity, I decided to do this walking flower tutorial. And when I did it, I ran into a few problems because I realized I put a period instead of a comma, and it didn't work. And then after looking at it, I figured that out, and I fixed it. And this is the code from the tutorial. But then I wanted to mod it, so I decided I wanted to make it have flowers surround me every time I moved, instead of just one flower behind me. So in order to do that, I started playing around with the code. I ran into some more problems, but then I figured it out, and I jumped up in the air and yelled, huzzah, because I was so excited that it worked. And here's the code for my modded part. And here's a link, because you can give a link to your project, your published project, so other people can download it and use it, okay? So those quests will look just like the Make Code Arcade quests in a sense. I just have to add them into Classcraft because I haven't done that yet. But if you want to start them, you can. If you're in the middle of a couple of quests or a quest that you started earlier in the week, go ahead and finish that first, but know that these quests are going to be here for you, okay? Sound good? All right, so you can get back to work. You have a few minutes, and then Monday we'll still work on quests and stuff. I think I mentioned that on Epic Games right now, 2 free games are Ticket to Ride and Carcassonne. 2 really good tabletop games, but the digital versions. Downloading those would be a good idea too, because then you could use those for before the tech quest, and we could play a little in class and stuff like that. All right, so I'm going to end the stream there, but thanks for whoever was watching.